Okay, now I want you to kind of make something on your own. So go to Create New, call this something like drums practice or what have you. Hit Create, create a track, make a click track because it's always good to have one just to make sure stuff's on beat. Now, I want you to experiment, but if you want some things to work with, I'm going to show you a couple different kind of classic beats, and I'm going to introduce a couple things about that are important. So here is a drum beat. I did it at 90 BPM. You'll notice that there's a couple tempo changes throughout here. And you can make tempo changes, but I'm not going to really get into that right now. Take a look at the MIDI editor. So again, I went ahead and I just put in Xpand. I chose the Urban Beat drum kit, and this is the first drum beat, and it's at 90 BPM. You can do it at any tempo, really. I'll open that up so you can see it in the MIDI editor. So there's a kick on beat 1. Actually, let me change back to 16ths so you can see my 16ths. Beat 1, the of beat 1, the of beat 2, the E and the and of beat 3, snare drum on 2 and 4, eighth note hi-hats. Now, you can kind of see that this hi-hat is darker color than this one. Every other one is a bit darker. You can see that these kick drums are a little bit lighter colored. And you can see that these lollipops are all over the place. These are velocities, and velocity represents how hard the drum is hit, or the key on the MIDI keyboard. Could be a piano, could be anything. It does help us to humanize MIDI program drums. So, for example, the way that I did that is I believe that when you are playing your hi-hat like a real drummer, you're going to hit the first and the third and the fifth louder than you would the ones in between. It gives some feel. So I'm selecting, so using my grabber, I'm selecting the first one, holding down shift, the third one, the whatchamacallit, the fifth one, and the seventh one. And then see how they're all highlighted white? Or at least these two are. Oh, yeah, there they go. And you can bring these up or down. So I'm going up a bit more. And it just kind of helps to accent things. Same with when you have a double kick drum hit like that, I will tend to make this one louder, because when you're doing a double hit with your foot, da-da, da-da. Okay, nothing too crazy about that. All right, so there's one drum beat, something you could play with. Here's another drum beat. Open that up, show it to you in the MIDI editor. Okay, your kick drums. Okay, take a look. I'll zoom out. Actually, this is probably the best way to look at it. You can kind of see your 16th notes. So 1 and then the and of beat 3. So far I've broken, the kick drum on beat 3 rule, but now these snare drums, I do have snares on 2 and 4, and then quieter ones in terms of my velocities, kind of filling in for some extra love. Okay. Again, you can change the tempo on these. Let's see. So if I highlight this, it kind of establishes my starting point. And if I press this plus sign, I can change from 90 to, say, 140 and hit return. Now check out this highlight. You got to go back and highlight your 1. Now let's say that you just hate that snare drum sound. just highlight all your snare drums by dragging over. And you can, since you have the grabber, you can kind of move your notes and choose a sound that you do like. Okay? Just play around. You won't break anything. Third drum beat. Still, because I had my clip highlighted, this one's still at 85. So this one is 16th notes on the hi-hat. You can see that I did the same thing with my velocities. So all the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc., are a bit louder than the other ones. I have my snare drums on 2 and 4. 1, and, E. But you can kind of just pause and look at it. Okay, very classic. Kendrick's used that on some tracks, I think. Fourth one, your basic house, EDM-ish kind of thing. So faster. This one's at 128. And, the classic is that you have kick drums on all 4 quarter notes and hi-hats on the and. Now, the reason I have 3 measures for this one is that electronic music like that is all about the percussive layering over time. So for the second measure, I added another hi-hat on the second 16th note. And then in the third measure that I made, I added a snare drum on beats 2 and 4. Okay. I really don't like these snare drums. I really don't. I don't like those either. So this is also something that you can play around and say, you know what, let's see what it sounds like if I change the drum set, and go to something completely different. Let's try new house. It's called house after all. Whatever. Doesn't help this one. Those hi-hats are horrible. All right, and just to keep us all honest, I want you to choose something that you've made, bounce it out, and submit it. So I'm just going to choose this first one. I'm using my grabber tool, I'm highlighting, and I'm going to File, Bounce Mix. I had the idea of doing 10 beats, but I did 4, and I'm going to call it beat 1. Doesn't really matter. Make sure, I don't know why this keeps going to wave. Usually sticks with what you did last. MP3, interleaved, 48, bounced files, offline, bounce. And please upload that to let me know that you're doing stuff. Just a note, before you bounce, make sure you mute your click track. We don't like that. And with that, have a good one.